So the 18th century is a chaotic time. Spanish succession, Austrian succession, 7 Years' War, and all the other generically named battles exhausted Europe's wealth, but Britain came out relatively fine. He needed the pieces to make them and the money to have them manufactured. Through the wars, Britain gathered a big chunk of colonial land from France and Spain. Thank you. I will take these colonial lands as stated in the Peace of Utrecht. With these new colonial lands, Britain can set up trade routes and expand their market. On top of the essential raw materials, like iron and coal, that already existed in Britain, the colonies were adding even more goodies to the British inventory. And, with their system of canals and lack of inland tariffs, they could transport these goods whenever they wanted to. Resource-wise, it was going pretty well for the British. But now, let's talk about politics. He found mechanics who could install, regulate, and fix his engines. Over time, Watt purchased the parts he needed. Many more improvements were made in the span of over 20 years.
Suis un escargot! Ah! Oui, oui, baguette! Ah! Ah!
While the Frenchies are beating themselves up and crying for a better government, England already achieved their constitutional monarchy for a long time, too. A stable economy allowed predictable rule and civil stability. The government also allowed a free market economy. Up for a round of croquet this evening?
You know it, Your Majesty.
Okay, so England had both a booming economy and a stable government. Let's go find the last piece of the puzzle. Let's say you're a British farmer. You talking to me? Yes, you, lower-classed, undereducated, and lesser-privileged pleb, who is also an essential part of this great revolution. Well, invisible voice in my head, I have no clue what that means. That's a good old long list of words. No matter. Now, good sir, tell us about your current state in the agricultural revolution. Well, the smart people of our age has built tinkers, so that way we can grow our crops sky high, so we don't have to eat muds and bark no more. Unfortunately, they did fence off our lands, so now it's hard for us to find work sometimes. We're like traveling wage workers, if you will. Exactly. Let's play a game of dominoes. More yields from farming means lower food prices. Lower food prices means excess money for families. Excess money means buying of manufactured goods. Buying of manufactured goods means more demands. High demands means a growing industry and a flowing economy. And voila! The dominoes fall into place. As you can see, British success in this time period was no accident. Cheers to you, British people. Nice work. In Britain, coal was being used as energy instead of wood, a resource that had become less abundant. By 1640, coal was being used in most British homes as a source of heat. It could also be used to make beer, glass, soap, and other manufactured products. Later on, coal would be used to produce mechanical energy to power machinery. Early steam engines were powerful, but they were incredibly inefficient. However, it was powered by coal, which was an abundant resource at the time. Later, it became the main source of energy for Britain. However, acquiring this coal was turning out to be a big issue. As miners tried to produce more and more coal, the mines filled up with water. So, mechanical pumps were installed. They were usually powered by animals walking around in circles at the surface. 500 horses were used in pumping water out of one mine. This was expensive, inefficient, and extremely bothersome. To solve this problem, Thomas Avery and Thomas Newcomen invented the steam engine. When the steam engine was first invented, they were inefficient, but still they were used in the English and Scottish mines in 1770. A young Scot named James Watt began to study the Thomas's steam engine in the 1760s. He made improvements to the steam engine by adding a condenser, making the steam engine much more efficient than the Thomas's steam engine. By the late 1780s, the steam engine was a practical and commercial success in Britain. The steam engine was one of the most fundamental advances during the Industrial Revolution. The people had almost unlimited resource power at their disposal. Inventors could help people come up with new inventions that could help them with their daily work, and this was huge at the time. Because of Watt's improvements to the steam engine, many places began to replace water power with power from the steam engine. They were used in the cotton spinning mills and the flour spinning mills, in the China industry, and the sugar mills in the West Indies. The steam engine also improved the success of the iron industry. Iron makers could create coke, which served as a fuel, out of charcoal. Henry Cort created the puddling furnace, which allowed iron to be refined and purified, resulting in better quality iron. As a result of Cort's inventions, iron became the basic, cheap building block of the British economy.
Wow!